Alright, welcome back to Josh Does Life. So our fish are in. Today we're going to do our unboxing of the live fish that have been ordered, and we're going to set them up in our quarantine tank for a week to 2 weeks. I don't know, it just kind of depends on what kind of shape they're in. So I ordered these from a different website, and I've never used this one before. It's www.aquariumfishsell.com. I've always used live aquaria in the past, but they were out of stock on some of the fish that I wanted, so I went this route. Just so everybody knows, and just to kind of tell you what happened in my situation. So I placed the order for these late Friday. I got a confirmation email, but then I didn't get a word or hear anything until Tuesday, yesterday. So Monday I didn't hear anything from them, and I was assuming that they would be packaged up and shipped Monday, probably get them Tuesday. So I actually called on Monday and I didn't get anybody. I got a voicemail. So I left a message to call me back. Well, I never got a call back. I tried to call a couple other times and still never got a person. So I sent an email to their support. Well, I never got a response from that. So to be honest, I got kind of fearful at the time, and I was thinking that this place might have been a fake website and might have been a scam. And at the time I kind of wished that I would have investigated it a little bit more. Well, then late Tuesday, I started getting emails from them. And I got an email saying that my order was being put together and would be shipped soon. And then I got another email saying my order has been shipped. And then I got another one saying that one of the fish from my order was out of stock and I would get a refund for that amount. It takes 2 to 5 days before you see it, that type of thing. So then I got all the emails, and then today being Wednesday, this morning, I got another email from UPS saying at the request of this website or this place, here's your tracking number and all that type of information. So it worked out fine, but I was a little bit nervous at first, kind of hesitant. I thought that, you know, this might be some sort of scam and I screwed up and I was going to lose my money because, as everybody knows, the thing about getting fish is they're kind of expensive to ship, and which is completely understandable because it's overnight shipping and all that type of stuff. So it's usually like $35, $39, somewhere in that range, you know, to ship them, unless you reach a certain amount. Well, I mean, if you're getting just a few fish that are $20 worth and then you add $35 to ship, you know, you kind of weigh it out, and to me it's not as worthwhile. So I always try to do a larger order. Downsides to that are, if you're doing a quarantine tank, you're putting a larger order, more fish in there, then it's a little bit more stressful and a little bit harder on the tank, especially if you set up a new tank for quarantine. So I've had this one running now a couple days. I've been adding the live bacteria into it, and I run Prime on it, CChem Prime, and also use stress coat in it. I have a plant out of my son's tank, a water sprite that kind of floats in the water and it absorbs a lot of bad stuff, you know, in the water. So that'll kind of help out with things. I've got a sponge from the other tank in there, and then we've got 2 sponge filters running and a couple of fake plants. So what we're going to do, we're going to open this, see what kind of shape these fish are in. The only thing that concerns me is that it was shipped out overnight yesterday. UPS is who they use, and UPS in my area is a little bit slower for residential. So here it is after 3 o'clock and I've just gotten the order, whereas when I've ordered in the past with live aquaria, they ship with FedEx, and in my area FedEx shows up usually by 10 a.m. or before when they overnight something. So the fish don't, you know, sit on the truck or plane and all that stuff as much. So I don't know how long these guys have been in here and all. I don't know exactly what time they left out or were packaged up, but I'm sure by now they've been in here for a while. So let's see what kind of shape they're in. I'll hold the bags up. You won't be able to see much, I'm sure, you know, in the bags, but we'll talk about what they are, and then we'll get them in the quarantine tank. I always put a towel down, because sometimes these bags, I don't know, I've had them where the bags have been popped before and they got water leaking everywhere. So, okay, so they're in a styrofoam box. Smells funky. We have the little heating bags in there to keep them warm, and that's still warm, so that's always good. All right, we have a card from aquariumfishsale.com saying thank you for the order. Any questions you can email. And then on the back it actually has an acclimation guide. Different fish need different care, and we at aquariumfishsale.com can only offer a very basic acclimation guide that should be the minimum practice for all your fish. Float your unopened bag in the aquarium for approximately 30 minutes. I've always done about 15, but you know, for different people, you know, different recommendations. This should avoid shock due to the sudden change in temperature. Cut the top of the bag and add about a third of the water from the aquarium in the bag. Do not worry about being exact. Allow the bag to float for another 10 minutes. This will help reduce sudden pH change shock. For more precaution, change another 1/3 of the bag in the bag and float for another 10 minutes. Then release the fish. So that's their recommendations. When I've dealt with saltwater fish in the past, you know, some species are really sensitive. I've used different acclimation methods. Mostly always use a quarantine tank when I'm dealing with saltwater, and usually I would do like a slow drip acclimation type thing. So what I would do is I normally get a bucket that's clean, and I pour all the fish, if they're compatible, which they should be if they're going in the same tank, but I pour them in the bucket together. I put a heater in there to start bringing up some of the, or bring up the water temperature a little bit. I check the water temperature to see what it is, and then I put a heater in there to slowly do it. Sometimes I'll put an air stone in there to keep the water oxygenated, and then I would put a drip tube in there for drip acclimation, depending on how sensitive the fish were. So I do it different routes for different fish. Clownfish have always been a little more tolerant, so I haven't gone to all the extreme measures for them. But some I would. For these guys being freshwater, you know, I'm probably just gonna let them float for a little while and then dump them out into the net and introduce them. I think, you know, all these are hardy fish, and I don't think I'm gonna have any issues with any of them. The inverts that I've ordered, we got one of the dead albino, is it Cory cats, I believe. One of them are dead on arrival. That looks like 2 are still in there, healthy. These are the, supposed to be like cherry shrimp, but they're see-through. I don't see any redness to them at all. That might be just due to stress. I don't know, I've never had these before. I'm not going to put these in the quarantine tank. These will go directly over to the main tank, as invertebrates don't deal with medications very well. Let's see what we got here. Here we have a loach, and I forgot the exact name to this guy, but he's supposed to be one that's pretty good, like plant safe and pretty good at helping fight algae. Pretty small. All right, here we have some of our platies, and I got some red platies and some blue platies. Nothing fancy there. And these are the blue platies I got. Everything else looks to be alive. And then my Neon Tetras. And I can't tell if they're all alive or not. It looks like, and that's it. That's all I got. Okay. Move this out of the way. And get these guys floating for a little bit for temperature. Now, depending, some people do this differently. Some people like it dark, you know, they don't have a light on when they're introducing them because the light, you know, can kind of, going from that dark box can kind of stress fish out as well. I have mixed thoughts on that, but I'm kind of just leaving the light on really so you can see in the tank and see what I'm doing. I don't necessarily, think it freaks them out too bad. Let's see what we got here. Shrimp and the loach. And the albino Cory cats. Okay. These guys I'm gonna float in the other tank, and we will get that going. I'm gonna let them sit for about 20 minutes just to make sure everything's good. I'll cut the camera off for that. I'm not, you don't want to just sit here and watch them. But I'll turn the camera back off when they're ready to introduce, and we'll put them in the water, see how they do. Okay, everybody, hopefully I've got the camera adjusted so you can see most of this. So everybody's got their own process when they introduce fish into the quarantine tank. I'm not, with these being platies and stuff, I'm not going to do like drip acclimation or anything like that. Basically what I'm going to do is pour them and the water from the bags into a fish net and then put them directly in. One of the things, in a quarantine tank, I don't worry about it as much. I know some people just dump them directly in with the water from the fish store, but they put this like fish survival, whatever blue stuff in there to help them. I think all it does is keeps more oxygen in the water from what I read, but keeps them alive longer. So I don't really want like the water that came from the actual supplier in the tank with that blue stuff. So I'm just going to like pour all that out, and then I'll put the fish in the tank. So we can take a look at them from there. So we'll do them one at a time. And I put a towel down on the floor because there's always water. Okay. Most of these are always double bagged. Make sure you get all of them out, of course. And there we are. Now we have our 4 red platies. And they'll probably kind of hang around that water sprout for a little while. It's always interesting to me when you first put them in, some fish act fearful and stunned and won't move around a bunch. Some of them go and search for cover, and then at times I've had some that just automatically start swimming the tank back and forth. So you never quite know what to expect with that. Alright, so we have 4 of the red platies. Should have 4 of these blue ones. I think all of these are still alive. We're good. Okay. Alright. And they're not a real bright blue. I'm hoping, as I know they're like stressed and all from the shipping, so that always affects the colors of things, but hopefully they'll get a brighter blue color to them. We'll see. Alright, last but not least, we have our Neon Tetras. Make sure you get all these guys out of the bag. They're prone to get stuck. Get these in here. Of course, I dropped one. Those two were dead. That's why they were sticking in the bag. And it looks like I got one other dead one. I'll go ahead and get that one out so it doesn't create any extra ammonia. We'll kind of watch and see how they do. I'll move the camera so you can see a little better here. Alright, there we are. So everything's in the quarantine tank. I usually give them a little bit of time, I guess, to de-stress, so to speak, before I start putting any kind of medication in there. And like I said before, when I quarantine, I automatically do the ICX in the tank. And I don't usually treat with other medications unless I notice something going on. So we'll kind of just keep an eye on them. You know, sometimes I've quarantined for a week, sometimes 2 weeks. It just kind of depends. I just like to watch them and kind of see how they're going to do. And see if we notice anything going on with them. But it's always neat. I almost get distracted and just sit here and stare at them and watch them swim around. Some of them kind of go up to the surface like they're already hungry. And that's always kind of fun. But you know, that's what it's all about, you know, and I'm kind of rambling on with this stuff, but some people, you know, set up tanks with just fish and just put the plastic, you know, decor inside just so they can sit back and watch the fish. And, you know, at one point, that's kind of what I focused on when I was a teenager. I did have, I think it was a 40 gallon and then maybe a 45 gallon. Well, shortly after I got a 55 when I was 18. But a lot of times during that time, even though I was doing saltwater, I didn't really do live rock. I did sometimes like a crushed coral bottom or sand, and I would do a lot of artificial type things inside there. And I just enjoyed sitting back and watching them swim around. And then as the years went on, you know, for me, it was more of a thing. I wanted just to try it and see how well I did at it, and I wanted to see, you know, branch out a little bit and see more in the tanks. I wanted to get into invertebrates, and I wanted to get into all the corals and things like that. So it's really, you know, it's all neat to me. I love the water, and I love, you know, fish in general, whether it be saltwater or freshwater, either one. It's interesting now, after all these years of doing salt water to go back to freshwater. But it's kind of like I talked about before, that having 2 kids now and working full time, trying to do some of these videos, all the projects around the house, salt water just takes a lot of time. So I'm hoping this won't be as bad. I mean, with salt water, I had to pre-mix all the, set up a day or two before I actually did the water change, and pre-mix all the salt and heat it up to room temp and all that type stuff. And I'm thinking, like with fresh water here, that my water changes and things will be a lot easier in maintenance. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm going to continue on with it, and like I said, depending on how many people enjoy my videos and want to watch them as to how far I take this. I'm not I don't mind setting up more tanks and getting a little more involved into it if I get a lot of people that show interest and want to watch me do that type thing. But anyway, yeah, I need to add a little more water to this tank. I'll make up some more water and add to it. But next we're going over to my son's tank, and we're going to introduce the albino Cory cats and the shrimp and the one loach. So I will pause here and we will go set up another room. Okay, so now we've moved into my son's tank, and we'll put the rest of these guys in. I apologize for how it looks. It looks it doesn't necessarily look cloudy, but the water doesn't look clear either. I'm not sure if that's something to do with the driftwood. I'm really not sure exactly. This has been going, what now, I think for 3 weeks, I guess. And I've done one water change where I did about 20-25%, something like that. But I might go ahead and try to do another one, maybe tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to do it tonight, introducing new stuff. I might. We'll just have to see how it goes. But anyway, I know you can't see the bucket and net as I do this, but this aquarium's sitting up higher, so it'd be a little more challenging to do. So let's get these in here. Here are the shrimp. I think I ordered 6 of these. All right. One, two, three, four. I kind of want to hold on to the net. There they go. All right. So I know 6 of them probably isn't very many right now. Supposedly, so they had cherry shrimp, and these were a variation that were supposed to actually be a darker red color. I paid more for them due to that. So I'm wanting to say that these guys were $8 a piece. So I hope they, are bright and do well. Guess we'll just have to see how that goes. And like I said, I'll try to do, some update videos as we go along here, and let you know, like, progress and how things are going. 2. This one actually stinks. Yeah, this is the one with the dead one. I hope the ammonia levels aren't too high and got the other guys messed up. Oh, we got 2 dead ones. that other one in the net here. Yeah, that one's definitely dead. So I about lost a shrimp here. Saw something else in the bag, and I couldn't really tell what it was. There we go. He made it. With small stuff like that, always go back and check your bags for sure. Well, that one's definitely gone. They kind of, when they're dead, they stick to the bags a little more. Okay. That guy kind of already sifting through the sand. I think those are pretty neat. I'll go to the, I think I can get those actually at my local PetSmart, so I'll try to go pick up a couple more because I know they kind of like to be in schools or groups. From what I saw in another video, it might have been Aquarium Co-op. I think Cory maybe was talking about that. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Alright, last but not least, a leaf floating in there as well. Oh, missed it. I'll get in a minute. See how this loach is. And these are interesting guys. I didn't want to, you know, as far as like for algae and different things like that. I know one of the really popular routes to go is a Plecostomus, but I didn't want to go that route because most things said that they get really large, and this being the size tank that it is, I felt it best, you know, to try to look at other fish to kind of do the job. Those shrimp are really active. I don't know if you can see them on camera. They're kind of checking everything out. Maybe that'll be pretty cool. I think they'll be neat. Alright, well, we'll kind of let them get used to their new home here, and I will do some update videos and let you know how everything goes later on. I may do a video of just dosing the medication on the quarantine tank. I'm not sure if anybody will find that useful or not. I mean, you know, read the instructions and dump it in, but I may do a video and just talk a little bit more about it and experiences in quarantine. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate everybody that watches my videos and that are following. Of course, I appreciate anybody that can subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to really build up my subscriber base, and it really would help me out a lot and mean a lot. So anyway, thanks again for watching, and hope you get something out of these videos.